This story is different from your regular manhwa. It is new with unique concept. If you enjoy the story, don't forget to break the like notification and subscribe button. Don't forget to comment your thought about the recap. The story begins inside a spaceship in outer space in front of a planet. The captain of the ship asked her crew member Sunja if they are at the right location, since it seems like they are in the wrong place. Sunja told her that the location is correct, since the planet in front of them is planet number, which is their exact destination, and the planet is called Earth. The other crew member, whose name is Robert, deemed the situation to be strange because he is sure that they're at the right place. But the planet is a place drenched of radiation, with not even a trace of oxygen. The captain couldn't believe that there's supposedly a high-value criminal, and a high-ranking member of the Black Blood Gang, is hiding in such place that is deprived of oxygen. She was quite pissed since Robert dares give her false intel, but Robert was like, no, it's true, for real, because the intel came out when Hao Moon raided the main system of the Beggars sect. The captain then asked Sunja what he thinks about the intel. Sunja replied while doing his repairs. He told her that if Hao Moon really came to Earth, then it would be to commit suicide. Because the oxygen saturation of Earth is at 23.76%, and radiation contamination level is at 87 sieverts, which makes it a perfect place for dying. The captain then asked him if it is possible for a human to live there. Sunja replied, with a top-notch radiation shield installed, and a high-capacity internal energy drive that spans multiple cycles, maybe they can last for about 6 hours. The captain then seriously asked Robert if he's willing to put his life on the line for the intel he got. Robert couldn't reply, since he can't just risk his life like that. But the captain wasn't interested in his response either. She then told him that if the criminal they are looking for is not there, then he would be in big trouble. Sunja then mentioned that there was a human life sighted below the surface of Earth, and so they went for the criminal hunt. Robert and the captain arrived on Earth at the location where life was detected, while Sunja was in charge of protecting the ship and giving them intel. It's quite surprising that Earth has now turned into a wasteland with no life in it, and the place they stood is popularly known as Mount Tai. The captain was surprised to see that the popularly known Mount Tai is right in front of her. Sunja told her that it's the origin of the Mount Tai star system, the very place where those old farts from the Martial Alliance call a legendary sanctuary. She couldn't believe that the trash dump in front of her eyes was once a legendary sanctuary. She was like, those old geezers from the Martial Alliance, why don't they do some cleaning at their so-called sacred ground? What do they make money for? Robert told her that they would never do anything that doesn't make money since they are all talk and no action. Sunja then told her through the earpiece that the place she is standing is the spot where the life was detected. The captain was surprised since there was nothing there, so she asked him if he's sure. Sunja replied yes, right below you. The captain then knelt down. She placed her hand on the ground. Robert asked her what is she planning to do. She replied, whatever is down there must sure be alive, but if it was she that was buried down there, she'd have suffocated long ago. She then activated her internal energy drive and boom, there was an explosion from below the ground. Robert, who was covered in dust, told her to give him heads up next time so that he can get out of the way. The hole was very deep. She then asked Sunja if there is still a sign of life. Sunja replied, it's faint, but still alive. There is also pretty large space down below. Robert then told the captain to bring the electronic ladder, but she dived in without paying attention to him. Robert was like, ha, you're always so hot-tempered. He then told her that they should go together. They arrived underground, and in front of them was a very big door with a sentence written on it by someone named Lee Mokjin. Robert had no idea what it says. The captain then told Sunja to translate it. Sunja told them that it's an ancient language used around 2,000 years ago. The word written on it state thus: the world fears me and imprisoned me with the great Dharma teachings. If you clumsily try to awaken me, death will greet you first. What the word meant is don't open the door if you don't want to die. Robert excitedly told the captain that the bastard criminal is hiding here because only someone like him would have the time for threats. But the captain told him that the threat wasn't from the criminal since it is written in an ancient language no one understands. Robert tried telling her that it might be possible, but she wasn't interested in the conversation, although she deemed it as a good sign because if the person that wrote the words on the door is threatening them not to open it, then there must be something valuable inside. She then pushed the door open. They were surprised when they got in, because they saw something sitting at the top of the stairs, although it looks human, but they had no idea what it was. The captain was quite curious at what it was. So she climbed up the stairs to go see what it was. The face of the person sitting down was covered all over in beards with his legs crossed. Robert asked her if it's alive or is it human. Although he didn't believe that it would still be alive since it has been buried for 2,000 years, the captain didn't reply. She then stretched out her finger and touched the nose of the person. There was no reaction for a moment, which made her more curious. But to her surprise, there was a sudden electric spark. She couldn't believe her eyes, but as soon as she felt the bloodlust that came out of the person, she immediately activated her magic power to counterattack. But it was useless. Rather, there was sudden outburst of magic power that shot out through the hole, all the way out of Earth into the space, and it almost destroyed their ship in the process. Sunya had no idea what is happening, so he asked the captain what is going on, and what the hell happened just now, but he didn't get a response. He called them multiple times through the earpiece, but there was still no response. The room was covered in dust, and within the dust, the captain coughed out blood, since she got an internal injury from that sudden explosion. She couldn't believe her eyes since she had no idea what just happened. In front of her was Robert laying down on the ground unconscious. The unknown person then appeared in front of her. He said to her, "Who are you? Who dares to awaken me?" But the captain couldn't reply since she was still in shock. The unknown person wondered if she had come to challenge him. If that's the case, has a martial artist capable of challenging him finally been born? He then told her to speak, and she should tell him the reason why she awakened him, but the captain had no idea what he was saying since she can't understand a word. She then activated real-time translation mode. The person raised his hand with the aim to kill her if she doesn't answer his question. Upon realizing that the man wanted to kill her, she immediately activated her powers in order to block the monster's attack. The collision from their attack was intense. She did everything within her power to block the attack from the person, although she was able to block it. But she was breathing heavily, and she had no strength left to receive another attack. She also got a warning from the system on her waist that her drive has overload, and 1.2 cycles out of 1.14 has been used. So, she was told to please recharge her energy. She couldn't believe her eyes, since the person was still the same. Even after she expended all of her energy, the person then said, "The skill you used is the Quantum Golden Summit Divine Art, and the Red Mist Divine Palm. Although they are the martial arts of the EMA sect, but yours seems to have many impurities which suggest that you have learned it through theft. In other words, you are just a thief scraping by with grave robbing." The person was really furious, so he levitated upward since a mere thief dares to interrupt his eternal sleep. The captain was frozen in fear since she was unable to do anything against such terrifying being, but to her surprise, the person fell down. She had no idea what just happened. At the same time, Robert stood up. He told her that the person must have died since it was exposed to such radiation without a shielding field. It's only natural for the person to die. So it's surprising that it held out for a long time, but Sunja told them through the earpiece that the person is still alive. The breathing is normal and so is the pulse. The captain was surprised, so she was curious as to why the person collapsed. Sunja then said, "It seems like it collapsed from energy depletion. The body is fine, but the battery inside its stomach is drained. That is to say, it fainted from hunger since it was starving." Some hours later in their ship, Robert was in disbelief since the captain brought the monster on board instead of leaving it behind. He told her that she shouldn't have done that. She should have also seen his berserk earlier since it's worse than a cockroach exposed to radiation. At least a radioactive cockroach would be worth a few bucks, but the crazy monster isn't worth anything. So he asked her why the hell would she bring it along. The captain replied, "It's worth money and lots of it." But they had no idea what she was talking about. She said to them, "What is the most valuable cultural heritage today?" Sunja replied, "Ancient martial arts. The closer to the original, the more expensive it is." She told him that he is right, and judging by the circumstances. The person is likely an ancient martial artist from 2,000 years ago. And 2,000 years ago was a legendary period when martial arts were highly developed. Even the lowest class F-grade techniques from that era fetch at least 10,000 credits, but the person is not on the level of an F-grade, but an unimaginable grandmaster, at least S rank or higher. Robert was quite surprised because if the person is truly an S rank, then they'd be hitting the jackpot. But the question is, what if he wakes up? The captain boastfully told him not to worry, since what she used to bind him is a celestial silkworm thread used for spaceship repairs. Even the head of the Shaolin sect couldn't cut it. But to her surprise, the person was able to cut it easily. He furiously said to her while exuding a terrifying killing intent, "How dare you? Lowly grave-robbing thieves try to desecrate me. I will tear you to shreds." The captain and Robert immediately went on a defensive position, but to their surprise, Sunja appeared before the person with a tray filled with sausages. They couldn't believe their eyes, but surprisingly enough, the person's anger calmed down and it was munching the sausage aggressively. They all stood behind while watching him eat. The captain then asked Sunja how he was able to come up with such an idea. Sunja replied, "He's been starving for a long time, so the best thing for a hungry beast is sausage." Some hours later, the captain explained everything to the person. They told the person that they weren't grave robbers but bounty hunters who accidentally woke him up. And now this is the world 2,000 years after his time. Humans, after harming each other to no end, destroyed the world and decided to live in the skies, although things have stabilized since then, and they decided not to allow any weapons, including nuclear weapons. Only allowing martial arts. The person was surprised since he had no idea what a nuclear weapon is. He then asked her what this current era is called. She replied, "This era is the year 1105 of the galactic calendar." The man was like, "Galactic? Does that mean you all live in the sky?" The captain replied, "Yes." She told the person that he is quite lucky since he woke up after 2,000 years and he should be immensely grateful. The person lashed out. He told her to talk respectfully since he isn't someone that she should be talking to anyhow. He asked her furiously if she wishes to die since a third-rate grave robbers like them dared to deceive him. But they all pointed out their fingers at the same time, showing him what it looks like outside the ship. The person looked outside, and he couldn't believe his eyes. The captain then told the person that the place over there is where he lived, but now it's totally ruined. She then patted the person on his head while saying, "Now that you have seen it, do you believe us?" But the person replied while exuding his killing intent, "Even if I want to believe, I can't, since there is no way he can believe that the land he is standing on is round." The captain was quite disappointed at how astonishingly ignorant he is. Suddenly, Robert could smell something disgusting, and it was coming from the person's body. The captain closed her nose. She told him that he would learn the rest later, but first he should go take a shower, maybe trim his hair in the process, since they would be staying together for a while. The person had no idea what she meant by shower, so she told him that he should take his bath, and so hours passed. They all stood in front of the door, waiting for the person to come out of the shower. Robert told the captain that she should have just let him leave his hair like that since he is scared that something mummified might come out from inside. But to their surprise, the person was no other than a handsome guy with packs and molded muscles. He came out while cleaning his hair. He then asked them if there is more of what he ate earlier. But they were unable to reply for a moment since they were still in disbelief. The captain was like, "Who are you?" Some hours later, they rowed their ship through the Milky Way. The guy who is our protagonist was mesmerized by the view in front of him since it doesn't seem like the sky at all. Although he once lamented about the world's narrowness, but he never expected it to be vast and strange. The captain then pinched his cheek. She said to him, "How old are you? Just so you know, hibernation age don't count." Some minutes later, a cluster of star in the Milky Way, called Pleiades, inside a Styried Space Tavern, a place called Wild Crane Inn, our protagonist was aggressively eating the sausages. Robert couldn't believe that a human is capable of eating so much. Sunja told him that he did starve for 2,000 years. Robert was like, "So he has to eat 2,000 years worth of food?" Sunja replied, judging by his eating. That might be the case, and so our protagonist finished eating his sausages. At the same time, at another scene, the captain went to meet the Wild Crane Inn's keeper, popularly known as Wang the 18th. She told him that she is looking for a broker. They must be rich and tough, because what she is about to sell is extremely expensive and valuable. Wang smoked his pipe. He asked her how expensive must it be for her to be so frantic. She replied, "How much would a full collection of 2,000-year-old martial arts manuscript be worth, if they were all originals, and all S-rank?" Wang was surprised by what she just said, and so, some minutes later when she left the room, there was silence for a moment. One of Wang's guard then asked him if what she said is real, if that's the case. S-rank originals from 2,000 years ago must be incredibly valuable. But Wang told her that it's worth 0 credits, because if such things existed, one book alone could buy a planet, and more. And yet a mere mid-tier bounty hunter like her claims to have found a bunch of them. He deemed what she said to be nonsense, so he told his guard to just kick them out. The captain arrived at her crew's table. She then asked Robert where Sunja went to. Robert replied. She went to buy supplies. Sorry guys, I have been calling Sunja a male instead of a female. I just noticed while doing my proofreading. Robert said to the captain, was the talk successful? The captain replied excitedly, it went well. He said he would contact us immediately when he finds a buyer. She looked at our protagonist. She was surprised to see that he ate all that food all by himself. Robert told her that luckily he just stopped. At that moment, the captain doesn't even know how to express herself, because if it weren't for the money, she would have abandoned him. Suddenly, the door opened. Some people in purple and black came in looking all majestic and mysterious. The captain was surprised to see them, since they are people from the heavenly demon sect. The big guy looked around with something like a scanner on one of his eye, looking for someone. The captain and Robert was observing sneakily since the big guy is the leader of the Red Wolf Squad. His name is Sanzhen Wuyu. Robert was surprised seeing the Red Wolf Squad since they are the inspectors of the demon sect, but he had no idea why they're here. The captain told him that they specialize in tracking, so they must be pursuing someone. She then told him not to make eye contact since it would be annoying. Our protagonist asked her if the demon sect she is talking about is possibly the heavenly demon sect. She replied nonchalantly, asking him how he knew the heavenly demon sect when he have been asleep for 2,000 years, or does the heavenly demon sect existed back then, but he didn't reply. Our protagonist was quite surprised that people aren't fleeing, because if they were truly demon sect members, people should be fleeing in panic, but the captain told him that there is no reason for them to flee. Although the heavenly demon sect has its quirks, but they still pride themselves as the foremost orthodox sect in the entire universe, and they really are the best. Our protagonist was in disbelief since the heavenly demon sect is now an orthodox sect. He was quite happy since his dream that always felt so distant and empty has finally come true. Wuyu was looking around the inn in search of someone. Some people looked at them confidently while others were hiding their faces. Wuyu then approached the man that was hiding his face. He told him to look up. The man looked up as instructed. His details then popped up in front of Wuyu's scanner. The man is a male, with an internal energy of 52.7 Celsius. He possesses a 5-star blackbird martial art, and he is wanted on charges of robbery and assault, making him a level 2 criminal. Wuyu told the man that today is his lucky day since he's not their target, but he should go to the Martial Alliance and turn himself in, since he is still a criminal. Otherwise, he will face the consequences. But something unexpected happened that he himself couldn't believe it. Our protagonist was patting his head. He was happy since the seemingly impossible dream of his has become a reality by the younger generations. His action made everyone to be surprised. Everyone in the inn couldn't believe that such a thing is happening in front of their eyes. Our protagonist deemed the younger generation feat to be admirable. He hugged the guy's head while saying, "How much suffering must these young ones have endured to achieve such a stature?" Wuyu was holding in his anger. He then asked the people in the inn, "Does this child have an intelligence issues?" Robert stepped forward. He stuttered. He told Wuyu that he doesn't have intelligence issues. It is just that his social skills are a bit lacking, Wuyu then said to our protagonist. "Child, you should know it's your lucky day today as well, because if I had sensed even a bit of martial art energy from your body, you would have already be shattered into pieces." He then tried taking away our protagonist's hand from his head, but it didn't budge. Wuyu had no idea what was happening since our protagonist isn't moving at all, no matter how hard he tried forcing him away. Even Robert and the captain had no idea what was going on. Wuyu realized that he was unable to use just raw strength to bring him off his body, so he activated his energy. His internal energy drive system activated his Blood Wolf demon art at the maximum level. He then told our protagonist furiously, while exuding a terrifying amount of magic energy in air, to stop messing around. Everyone was surprised at what was going on. Even his underlings were like, ugh. Our protagonist swiftly returned to where the captain and Robert is standing, completely unaffected by Wuyu's outburst of power. Even Wuyu couldn't believe his eyes. The captain was like, "It seems Wuyu isn't in good shape." Wuyu then asked our protagonist for his identity. He couldn't believe that he is still alive since he clearly intended to kill instantly with his outburst of power. But to his surprise, when he tried pulling out our protagonist's details, he realized that everything about him was unconfirmed: his gender, internal energy, and loaded martial arts. It is like his database wasn't registered in the system. He couldn't believe that a pure natural being with 0 internal energy is still alive after receiving an attack from him. Our protagonist said to him, "It seems like you just used the Blood Wolf demon art. It's one of the lower-level martial arts among the heavenly demon body cultivation arts. But still, it's commendable that it's been passed down until now, however. It's a pity that your internal energy and chi are not in harmony since it seems like the training method is flawed. But meeting me today is the opportunity of a lifetime for you. So let me personally correct it for you." He then stepped forward. But unlike other manhwa, where the guy would immediately go down on their knees to bootlick our protagonist immediately, as they realize his deduction was correct. Wii called him a lunatic. He then activated his energy with the aim to kill, but as he tried using his Red Wolf Demon Claw first form to attack, our protagonist dodged it without taking a step. He launched multiple slashes, but it was still futile since he was unable to touch not even our protagonist's clothes. He switched his technique to Red Wolf Explosion, but the result was still the same, seeing that it didn't work. He switched to Red Wolf Tremor Wave and Red Wolf Ghost Claw, but he was still unable to land a hit since our protagonist was faster than he can imagine. Our protagonist began observing Wiyu's strength and weaknesses while dodging his attacks. He noticed that he had enough internal energy with precise form, however something is wrong, and as soon as Wiyu tried to strike again, our protagonist grabbed his head and slammed it into the ground. He told him to stop with his nonsense since his skills are crude. Everyone in the inn were in disbelief, and no one could believe their eyes. Our protagonist then told Wiyu that although he have learnt the skill properly, but he learned it without understanding it. He then told him that true martial arts are not just about imitating, but it is about adapting and making them your own. He then told him to get up if he understands, but there was no response. Like, how the hell do you expect him to get up when you use such force to slam his head into the ground? His underlings were also in disbelief, but they all rushed out to take him down since he dared lay a hand on their platoon leader, but what happened next was quite brutal. Some unknown hours later in the Heavenly Demon Sect District 32, the brutal scene that happened in the inn was replayed. It was really shocking. Even the commander of Heavenly Demon Sect District 32 couldn't believe his eyes. Wiyu was knocked out cold, together with his underlings. The Heavenly Demon Sect District 32 commander, whose name is Jong Ritak, deemed the occurrence to be unbelievable when he saw what happened through the inn's camera. The man who came to make the report told him that fortunately, Wiyu and his squad only suffered severe bruising. Their lives are not in danger. But Ritak didn't deem it as a fortunate event because they miserably lost the fight against a mere unknown stranger. The man who came to report is Senior Elder of District 32, whose name is Joe Chunrock. Ritak said to Chunrock, "Is it true that he's not registered in the Martial Alliance database?" Chunrock replied, "Yes, however, his companion were registered. They are a group of bounty hunters known as S-Devil. They mainly clean up B-class or lower petty criminals. The team is led by a person named Seryung. She is nicknamed the Blazing Devil, and she's a well-known bounty hunter, straddling both orthodox and unorthodox worlds. Although after the incident, they left Wild Crane Inn, but they can still be tracked." Chunrock then asked the commander if they should send a pursuit team, but the commander replied no, he would handle it personally. The commander stepped forward, he pressed the green button in front of him, a screen displayed, someone then appeared in front of it. The person said to the commander, "It's been a while, is there perhaps a request you have for our Greenwood group?" Some unknown time later, the captain and her crew was driving their ship through the Milky Way. Our protagonist was holding a knife and a fork while waiting for his meal. At the same time, the captain and Robert stood in front of him while observing him. Robert said to the captain, "Be honest, you are just as scared as I am right now," but the captain had no idea what he's talking about. Robert told her that it is surprising at how strong our protagonist is, since he was able to slap down Wiyu and the Red Wolf platoon with one blow, despite them being an A-rank martial artists. The captain boastfully said that she could also win if she fought them seriously, although they might be a rank, but they are at the lowest level of it. Robert added, saying that he might be able to scratch them a little bit if he puts his life on the line, but our protagonist swatted them aside like flies. The captain then walked towards our protagonist. She slammed her hand on the table, and she told him that they need to talk, but our protagonist seriously looked at her. He told her that he would talk only if there is food. But she sat down, crossed her legs, and she insisted that they should talk first before food. She then said to him, "You! What's your name?" But Robert told her that he'd suggest she use honorifics first, but the captain didn't listen. She then said to our protagonist, "Are you deaf? What's your name?" But there was no response. Sunya then arrived with a tray full of sausages. Our protagonist looked at it. But the captain told him not to even think about eating the food until they are done talking. She then asked him for his name again, but there still wasn't no response. Robert then told her that she should at least let him eat comfortably first, since it said not to bother even a dog when it's eating, but the captain didn't care. After a moment of silence, our protagonist told her that his name is Lee Mokjin. From now on, as a means of reference, we would be calling our protagonist Mokjin. And as for the captain, we would be calling her Seryung, since that is her name. Seryung then asked Mokjin about his identity, or what his past profession is, but there was no response for a moment. Mokjin then replied, "My past profession is the Supreme Heavenly Demon." Seryung was like, "Did you just say Supreme? What the hell is this guy spouting? Did we feed him bad hot dogs or something?" But suddenly, the ship emergency alarm started ringing. Seryung and Robert was surprised since they have no idea what is going on. Sunya, who was in charge of the ship security, told them that someone is targeting them at a close range. Seryung hurriedly rushed to see what is going on. She said, "I knew it! It must be the Heavenly Demon sect. They must have come for revenge since Mokjin beat up the Red Wolf platoon." But Sunja told her that the people attacking them is not the Heavenly Demon sect. Rather, it's the Greenwood. Their ships were surrounded by multiple fleets. At the same time, within one of the ships, standing in front of the main ship, is the leader of the Galaxy Division of the 72 Strongholds of Greenwoods, with a known nickname. Black Tiger of the Crescent Moon, Kim Sungbom. A man report to him that the S-Devil ship has been confirmed and the bounty targets has been surrounded. He then asked Sungbom if they should fire the EMP capture round. Sungbom didn't reply. He then asked him if the ship they surrounded is really owned by bounty hunters. The man replied, yes. According to their investigation, they mainly operate on the outskirts of the galaxy, and their leader is someone called Blazing Devil, Seryung. Sungbom was wondering why would the Heavenly Demon sect bother with such a small group. The reason why they surrounded Seryung's ship was because they received a bounty request from the Heavenly Demon sect, and the request wasn't to capture, but to erase Seryung and her crew members from existence. He deemed the request to be odd, and he was sure there was definitely something going on. He was sure that Chunruk must have a reason for specifically entrusting the task to them, despite the fact that the Heavenly Demon sect is more adept at taking lives than they are, so he was sure that there must be a trap in the S-Devil ship. Although they are surrounded by crowds of ship, but Seryung didn't show any signs of fear. She thought they have come to rob them since they are bandits, but Robert told her that he doubt they are here to rob, since they are dragging such a large fleet around, so their aim won't be to rob them since they are extremely poor, and there won't be any profit for them. Seryung understood what he is trying to say. She then said confidently, "Anyway, it doesn't matter. They can just beat the Greenwood scumbag robbers if they get in their way and toss them out." But Sunya told them that defeating them won't be that simple, since they are part of the Galaxy Division of the 72 Strongholds of Greenwood, and it appears that the entire division has been mobilized. Seryung was like, "Are you kidding me? Did they really mobilize the whole Galaxy Division? Then does that mean the division leader, the Black Tiger, Kim Sungbom, is here as well?" She then said without a single fear in her eyes that even her can't beat Sungbom easily. Robert said to her, "Of course it's not easy. You'd be dead within 3 moves if you stood against him." She grumpily told Robert that it's not that bad since she can still put up a fight if she put her mind to it. Robert knew that she was just trying to act strong, so he told her that they should just surrender quickly since they have nothing to lose. Seryung thought for a moment. She then told them all to follow her command from now on. She told them that she would permit the enemy to fire the EMP capture round to cut off their ship's energy and incapacitate them. Then she'd also permit them to board their ship armed. They'll let them search the ship and also donate anything unnecessary for survival if the enemy wants it. Robert was like, "The fuck you saying? How is what you said different from surrendering?" Amidst the chaos, Mokjin was amazed at the beautiful view in front of the ship. Seryung then approached him. She patted his shoulder contentiously. She told him that the ship will shake a bit when the EMP hits, so he should not panic, since there would be no destructive power shot at them because of the space laws that forbade using of destructive power to fight. She then left him since he doesn't seem to understand what she is saying. On her way, she told him not to interfere because the enemies would leave once they take what they want. But if fight breaks out and things escalate, she won't be able to guarantee their survival. She nonchalantly asks Sunya if their ship has already been locked on. If that's the case, they should brace for impact. But Sunya shockingly told her that what they are firing at them wasn't an EMP. Rather, it was a ship-destroying photon cannon, which indicates that they are planning to kill them. At the same time, on the Greenwood ship, the man told Sungbom that them using the photon cannon violates space regulations and it might cause trouble later, so he suggested that they should quietly capture and dispose of them. But Sungbom told him, no, he have a bad feeling about the mission, so it's better to just blow them to dust since they can shift all the responsibility to the client, the Heavenly Demon Sect, and so he told him to fire when ready. At the same time on S-Devil ship, Seryung panically asked Sunya if they can warp out and escape. Sunya replied no, since they are surrounded on all sides. She asked again if they can block the attack with the shields. But Sunya told her that it's not working since they sold some ship parts for living expenses. Seryung was like, damn it, we are fucked. At the same time, the photon cannon energy was fully charged. Sungbom then gave the order to fire it, and so, boom. The energy was shot directly at their ship. At that moment, they were all hopeless, and they have accepted death. There was an intense explosion from impact, but to Sungbom's surprise, the ship came out unarmed, since it was blocked by another big ship, and the ship belongs to the girl with a spear on her hand. The girl is known as Elena, but she is popularly known by her nickname, the 8th-foot fighting ghost.